It's time once again for your weekly update from the city of New Hope. Let's chat with the mayor to find out what's new in the city and what might be coming up. Welcome, Mayor Elder. How are you today?
I'm fabulous, Dave. How are you?
I am very good. So we
Great.
want to start with a topic that has come up. If you're watching this on the first day here on the Monday of recording on the 14th, on Sunday the 13th, a notice came out to New Hope residents and also Crystal and Golden Valley residents related to the water. So as of Monday here in the early afternoon, bring us up to date on what happened to have that be sent out and where are we now?
Yeah, well, Sunday morning, shortly after 6 a.m., my phone started ringing from residents who were experiencing a lack of water delivery to their residents. I contacted the city. That rolled over to the Hennepin County Sheriff's Dispatch Center. Spoke with some individuals I knew up there. They said they'd been receiving calls for about a half hour and had received, boy, over 100 calls during that time. And that the calls were coming from the cities of Crystal, Golden Valley, and New Hope. And that told me right there that it was a problem that was impacted by something in the Joint Water Commission. The three cities, Crystal, Golden Valley, and New Hope, all purchase their water together and share infrastructure. And so, knowing that all three cities were out, obviously it was something to do with that. So I contacted the city manager, public works director, and they got back to me quickly, advising that it appeared that something had malfunctioned in the water tower in Golden Valley, and that stopped the flow of water. And they were working on getting it fixed. They would have it fixed shortly, and water would have to repressurize through the system to be delivered to all of the residents and businesses. Um, Hennepin County was contacted, reference this, and they put out a boiler alert. And because the water had been off for a certain period of time and our water pressures dropped below a certain level, the boiling alert went into effect. And as soon as we got word of that, we talked to the cities of Crystal and Golden Valley, and we got that information out to the residents. It took some time for Hennepin County to advise us that, in fact, there was a boiling alert that was going to be put into place. And we put it out in every means imaginable through our SMS alert system, to CCX, to the Sun Post for their online edition, to all four of the major news stations and the Star Tribune. We got that information out on our reader boards throughout the city. We really reached out every way possible, including all of our social media channels. So the information was out there. It's just really difficult for us to know how people are getting their news. And
Sure.
we worked with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department and got an iPause alert sent out. And that is where you're able to set up a geographical boundary and send a message to every cell phone that is within that geographical boundary. Now, the challenge to that is if you in your phone settings have disabled government alerts, you're not going to get that notification. So there's no foolproof way of doing this short of going door to door. And in New Hope, we have about 5,000 doors to knock on. So, we blasted it out every means possible and really hope people would get the information. As of today, Monday, strike that Sunday, we took samples from 5 of our water sites and got those into the Minneapolis lab. That water has to incubate for 16 hours. So this afternoon, that 16 hours will be up and they will be testing the water. At that point, they will notify the three cities if, in fact, the water is consumable again or if it remains potable and shouldn't be consumed. That information will go out on the city websites. If, in fact, that's the case, we will resample and then bring it back in, and the boiling alert stays in place for about another 24 hours. So I'm really, really hoping for good results today, as is many, many residents in the Tri-City area.
Very good. A couple of just quick follow-up questions. Is there a parallel to this happening in other communities here in Minnesota in recent time? Does this happen on occasion?
It really does, and it's for any number of reasons. It appears that in this case, preliminary investigation into this indicates that this was a valve failure in a Golden Valley water tower. And so I know Scott County just had one last year where they had some sort of a challenge and had to go into a boiling ban, and that went on for a few days. And so it's not common, but it certainly does happen. And you look at the number of valves that are involved in a Tri-City equation, and the amount of pipes and the amount of just the miles and miles of infrastructure. This does happen, and we're sorry it happens. We do everything we can on the front end to make sure that it doesn't happen. But unfortunately, it did, and I am very proud of the city's response to this. They, as I said, at shortly after 6 a.m., when I started making phone calls, the wheels were already in process. Our on-call public works person had already come in, and so we were aggressive about it, not passive by any means.
How about from a public safety standpoint? I would guess the city had to get a plan in place related to public safety and fire department use, and then also business use. So we think of the homeowners immediately, obviously, but how about those other two elements of the city that I'm sure someone had to be thinking about very quickly?
Absolutely. And each of our fire stations in New Hope and Crystal for West Metro Fire has a tanker truck, and that tank holds over 1,000 gallons of water. And if we have a fire that we are going to need more than that amount of water, there's already mutual aid has been started. So Plymouth will come over. Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Robbinsdale. Robbinsdale's a great partner of ours, Golden Valley. And we're able to absolutely utilize their water and their resources. And if in fact it's something where we need to go ahead and replenish our supply, we'll go get it from another city. You know, we'll fill up the truck and obviously be billed for it. But all of these things have been planned for in advance. And there are so many trainings and so many scenarios and so many things that our staff works on a routine basis, that when something does come up, you know, you're not starting at square one.
And how about from the business aspect? I suppose you've been getting a few calls from New Hope area businesses as well.
Yeah.
What are you telling those businesses and how are they responding?
Absolutely. What I have been doing is I have been connecting our businesses, largely the restaurants, with the Hennepin County Health Department and the business section of Hennepin County. And they talked to the labs, they've talked to a number of different areas, and Frankie's, for instance, was able to test the water in their dishwasher, and the water is so hot and stays on for so long that it's totally safe for them to be doing. I mean, it's the same thing as boiling water, but they're just doing it in the cleaning process.
Sure.
I know Pub 42 I spoke to Applebee's, I spoke to a great number of our restaurants, and getting them the answers really was the most important thing for me. I don't have the answers. I've never dealt with this before, but I had the contacts to get them the answers that they needed. And that's really what I think you want in an elected official or in your government.
Well, hopefully by the time most people in New Hope see this, the problem is done and it is a thing of
Please,
the past and a learning
please.
experience for many in the city, correct?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Incredible.
All right. We'll keep people up to date. Watch CCX Media and certainly the city's website and social media to find out
Yeah,
more about what is going on. All right. Let's get to some other things happening in the city. There is a lot going on besides the
there is.
water, and one is the city council vacancy. That process is moving along. Give us an update on where we are now, and there's a deadline coming up for that.
There is. With the death of Councilmember Andy Hoff, we had a vacancy created on our New Hope City Council. And we will be filling that position through a series of interviews. And that person will hold the seat. The selected individual will hold that seat until the end of 2026. Then during the November 2025 elections, we will uh, have a seat for an open 2-year vacancy. And if that person wants to run to continue to hold the seat, they certainly may. Otherwise, anyone else can put in for it as well. When I got appointed to council in 2008, this was the exact process. I got appointed for 6 months and then ran for election and won that 2-year seat. So it's a great way to have a say in your city. It's a great way to really know what's going on. And it's a great way to really just make a difference.
And that deadline again is July 18th, 4:30 p.m. And again, the city's website place to find out more about that.
Yes,
Let's talk about community development. A lot happening here. And speaking of a business that picked the perfect time to open up, it is Cullen's Ice Cream. Tell us about
that's
the new business. Remind us again where they are going to be.
absolutely so excited to see them come into town, and the ice cream's outstanding. They are in the same space as was occupied previously by Pocket Square, right there on 42nd in Quebec. It's kitty corner from the YMC, directly across Quebec from Pub 42. And it's an ice cream parlor. They have a couple of other locations. I know one's in Champlin. I think the other may be in Stillwater. And it's a fun atmosphere with incredible ice cream. And I was really excited when I heard they wanted to come into town. And so we welcome them and wish them great success.
Yeah, make sure you stop by and say hello to them. Something coming up in September that is a special event for commissioners in town. Remind us what this is and why people might see a big bus traveling around the city.
Yeah, we get a coach bus, and we take all of our commission members. That's the Planning Commission, the CAC, the Human Rights Commission, City Council, and the directors from the city. And we do a tour of the city, and we look at all of the work that we've done over the previous years, over the previous year, excuse me, and look at sites and locations for things that are upcoming. And it's really neat for us to be able to do this because the Planning Commission gets involved in a number of different things. The CAC may have seen some of these cases before it even made it to council. And for them to see the fruits of their labor and to see how well the city is really progressing, it's an enjoyable evening. Yeah, I get the time to talk one-on-one more with commissioners. And it's a great thing for us to do. It keeps our commissioners engaged, and it reminds them that what they're doing really truly matters, because it does. So we'll be doing that on September 16th, and we're looking forward to that.
All right, and something just a couple days after that, September 19th, an opportunity for people to engage with other business people in the area. because a chamber is having a golf event at the Great New Hope Village Course. And this is an annual event, Mayor.
It is. This is the 28th annual New Hope Golf Outing and Barbecue. It's scheduled September 19th at noon. Registration begins at 11:15 a.m. with a shotgun start at noon. And it's hosted by the Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce. And this brings in businesses from across the metro. And it's open to the public if people want to do that. And there's a meal served. It's the part of the cost of the ticket. And it's a great time for businesses to start and build relationships, as well as for council members to get out and engage with them. And I have talked to a number of businesses at these events, trying to recruit them to get to New Hope.
Sure.
So it's a great event. It's a great course, and I've always enjoyed attending it.
It gets filled up early, so don't delay. Go to
Does.
the city's website, newhopemn.gov, and see it there and sign up for that tournament. Also, check out the information on the Rave Awards.
Yeah.
Mayor, another deadline coming up quickly here. The deadline is July 25th for people to do some nominating. Tell us more again.
Yeah, this program recognizes the efforts of residential property owners who contribute time and resources in maintaining or improving their residential properties around the city. And every year I get to see these nominations come in, and I get around each of the houses and see what has been nominated. I don't get to vote, but I like to see all the work that's being done. And there are some people that have gone to extraordinary lengths to beautify their property, which then in turn beautifies the city. And a lot of times you see people beautifying their property, and now all of a sudden another neighbor starts thinking, well, it looks kind of nice. And,
Yeah.
it kind of catches on. And, one property can really start a whole changeover of a lot of houses on a block. So the Rave Awards will be presented probably in September. But the nomination deadline is coming up here, as you said, on the 25th of July.
Yeah, website, a lot of information about that. Also information there about the business networking group. This is a number of business people, another way for them to get together and talk about what they're doing. They have some monthly meetings. Next one is August 6th, and a special guest from the county coming in.
Yeah, Elevate Hennepin is going to be speaking at this event. Elevate Hennepin is a resource out of Hennepin County, and what they do is they specialize in providing support, low-cost support to small businesses. And they can help with marketing. They can help with business plans. They can help address challenges. And it's really a resource for our small businesses. And small businesses can really be the lifeline of a community. And so, whereas we love our Hy-Vees and we love a lot of our larger businesses as well, we want to make sure that we're able to take care of the small businesses. And so, we have that meeting coming up. It's the New Hope Crystal Business Networking Group, and meet monthly. And so, I get to about 95% of those, and it's great to hear from the businesses as to how things are going and what they need and how the city can support them.
Again, that next meeting is August 6th, 8:30 in the morning, and that will be held at New Hope City Hall in one of the conference rooms. So plenty of space. Stop on by if you can. Continuing on in community development, scattered site housing, a couple properties to update people on. And we've got some properties that are almost done or getting through the process. The few that are almost done are over on Nevada Avenue. Tell us about the great look of these homes.
Yeah, 4220 and 4222 Nevada. Those lots were purchased by EHR, or Exceptional Home Remodeling. And in this case, they're Exceptional Home Building. And they have they have done remarkable. These homes are going to be gorgeous. The gas fireplace and insulation has been installed in the home on the south lot, and drywall installations underway. The area around the foundation for the north lot has been backfilled with excess dirt removed from the property. Framing is underway. Um, they expect that each of these homes are going to list for just under $580,000. And so what the city did is we got one home that was, I believe, assessed on the tax roll for $240,000, and we're going to be putting two homes onto that same lot because it was so large, and we will have a taxable value of the two homes combined uh, over $1 million. So it's a program that is beautifying the city, getting rid of some of the dilapidated homes, and helping the tax rolls in the process.
One other house to check in on, 5421 Virginia. We see some walls coming up and a roof going on, so things are progressing well here.
Moving right along, we're excited about this home as well, and I've been checking in with the builder and getting into the home, and they're making headway. And so this is going to be a beautiful home. The layout is great, and so we'll keep moving along with that one.
All right, let's hop over to the police department to provide a few updates here of what is going on. And first is a couple ways that the city is partnering with some others to do some neat things in the city. The first is the JCCP. Tell us what those initials mean and who is connected with this.
That is the Joint Community Police Partnership. And as you've heard me say before, community engagement is one of the cornerstones of Chief Hoyt's administration. And we in New Hope are partnering with Hennepin County, and we are paying for a large portion of this embedded person's salary. And they are there working with the police department to uh, work partnerships with the community. And it's the entire community. We're getting in to do more community events with some of the routinely or typically underserved communities. And they brought in a superstar in this category, a gal who absolutely is very outgoing and able to really interact with all segments of society. And so we're very excited to have Ashley on board and continue to move forward with this partnership with Hennepin County and build more partnerships with our community.
There's another partnership working in the police department, growth through opportunity. We talked about this a little bit. Remind us again what is happening here and how these individuals are not only with police, but other parts of the city as well.
Yep, the city has two what we're calling cadets that started last week, and they'll be working throughout all of the city departments this summer, and they're learning how to have a job and how the city works and how they behave in a workplace and how they succeed. And these are people, these two individuals have some disabilities. And so the city is mentoring them along to help them succeed in number one, their aspirations and goals of getting full-time employment, living on their own, and being able to be productive members of society. And so I got to meet both of them already, and great folks. And I'm very, very proud of the work being done by the city for taking this on.
Final note in the police department with a holiday weekend recently, you obviously see some different types of police calls that are tied into holiday celebrations. What did we see and how did New Hope respond?
Yeah, well, this year was no different than any other. We had a multitude of fireworks complaints around the city throughout the entire weekend. We had a vehicle fire and garage fire that were directly linked to fireworks. Our West Metro Fire District did a great job in getting out and getting the fire extinguished. We had 3 DWI arrests. We had a one vehicle accident where the driver was drunk and drove off of the roadway and into a set of cement steps. And the owner was inside the home with an infant child. We're very, very thankful that the person struck the cement and not the side of the house. And our Sergeant Robles arrived, did the field sobriety, and the person was ultimately arrested for DWI and damage to property. Our officers at some points were running from call to call, and were assisting other agencies as other agencies were assisting us. So it was just a great work of public service and law enforcement by both our police and fire departments.
All those crews. Let's go to Public Works. They have been busy and they're looking at the streets now and doing some repairing there. And also the work related to the water tower. So tell us about the 2 main efforts right now of Public Works.
Yeah, boy, Public Works always seems busy. The crack repair contractor, Allied Blacktop, continued the crack repair work this past week on Boone Avenue and 49th Avenue. The seal coat and fog coat contractor, Pearson Brothers, will begin the chip seal work next week on, well, that's this week actually, on July 16th, with the sweep up on July 30th, weather permitting, of course. So we will be continuing on with our pavement improvement plan. We have a 10-year plan that addresses improvements to every single street in the city. And whether it's a fog seal, whether it's a reclamation or a mill and overlay or a total reconstruction. So we're continuing on with our plan. That plan gets reevaluated every single year as they review all of the city streets and its needs. So again, a lot of great work being done by our Public Works team. The South Water Tower, which had nothing to do with the boil alert that came out. The contractor continues to work on both the interior and exterior of our South Water Tower. That's right off of Medicine Lake Road and 169. The contractor plans to continue doing work this week. The finished product will match the color and logos that are on our North Water Tower. So you will see that it's not going to be that putrid green that the primer color was. And you'll see that the logo will be different than the one that was previously up there. That was last painted in 1989. Okay. So we've updated the logo. It will look the same as our North Water Tower, and we're going to be very happy to have that back up and online. Although I will tell you, I have received very few complaints about water pressure in that area. And again, that's the Joint Water Commission working together to tool up all the different pressures throughout the cities to make sure that one area was not adversely impacted by this. So really appreciate the other 2 cities.
A lot of behind the scenes work happening.
Yeah.
All right, Park and Rec, a few stops here, a few things that are coming up, and one that has just happened. Number 1 coming up is the farmers market returns again, and I understand they have been doing very well out of their new location.
They have, and people, since we lost our last market, people were very, very vocal. They wanted a farmers market, and so that was one of the things that I ran on when I put in for mayor. I wanted a farmers market. People want a farmers market. If we can make it happen, let's make it happen. And so the thing that makes me the most happy is that those people that had pushed for a farmers market and complained about not having one are going. And so our attendance has been good. It's still building, And as the crops are coming in, we're getting more and more produce. And it's a fun community event every Thursday night from 3 to 7. And that is at the New Hope Church at 42nd and Gettysburg. So we hope to see you out there. I lucky I get out to most of them.
That is great. And again, a lot of those sponsored by different community organizations and businesses. Three Rivers Park District, a recent sponsor. So a big thank you to them. All right, to the golf course we go. It was a hot spot for young budding golfers this past weekend. What happened out there?
You know, our golf course, like our ice arena, pulls in events that boggle my mind. We just hosted the Minnesota PGA Junior Tour Tournament, and there were exceptional golfers there. I mean, these kids were incredible, and to be able to watch that golf, it was great. And it's a great course. It's a par three. You know, you're not out there driving 360 yards. It was a real feather in the hat for New Hope to be able to host this event. And as I said, we host a lot of, really quality events at the golf course. And, Ricky and the entire team out there does a great job keeping it up and running and in great shape, and it looks great. Even with all the rain we've had, they've been able to keep that course in great shape, and hats off to them for that. And the golf course is one of the things I get the most phone calls on with the most compliments.
And finally, in Park and Rec, to the aquatic park, and a special note to people this coming weekend. It is a big event, but the pool will be closed to the public because of that big event. What is coming?
Yeah, we have a contract that one weekend of summer we host a swim meet, and this brings in swimmers from across the state. And so, unfortunately, the pool will be closed the 18th through the 20th. There is grant money that comes to us for hosting this meet, and there are pretty steep fees for the teams that are engaged in this meet. So we do receive monies for this. This isn't a lost weekend to us, but it's a lost weekend of service to our residents and the people that normally would be there. So again, one weekend a month. We appreciate people understanding, and we look forward to seeing them the following weekend or the following week even.
Right,
So
get back out there and enjoy that pool after the weekend. One final note to pass along and our update this week from the city of New Hope is HR, Human Relations, and we've got a officer that is moving through the ranks.
yeah, we part of our succession planning is we like to hire community service officers that handle non-enforcement duties, animal duties, things like that, where you don't need to be a licensed police officer to do that, but it's still things that are expected by our community. And so we hire on community service officers so that our officers don't have to take their time away from, responding to calls or doing traffic or other community engagement. And these community service officers are often going for school for law enforcement. And we have an individual, Connor Mueller, who was a CSO for us and has finished his schooling, has gone through the academy, and has passed his state licensing test. And he is going to be promoted effective July 28th to the position of police officer. And the really great thing about that is Connor already knows the geographics of the city. He knows the people. We've seen him work. We know how he does. Um, and he knows a lot of the paperwork. So training somebody in at the officer position, coming in from being a CSO there, it really is helpful and cuts down the training time.
Thank
So our most sincere congratulations to soon-to-be Officer Mueller.
Yes, say hello when you see him out in the community. Well, that is it for a long update from the city of New Hope today. As always, a lot going on. And again, stick with the city's website if you haven't already to find out more about the water. Mayor, thanks again for your time today. And folks, stick with us here. I'll look at some other things happening in the community right now. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Dave.
For more city stories, check out ccxmedia.org or find us on social media.